A classmate complains about his overbearing mom checking his browser history. John can only stare blankly, lost in his own thoughts. He thinks about the mother he never knew. He wonders if she would have hugged him or cleaned his ears. His friend calls him out for glaring again, saying it's why he has no friends. He doesn't have a mother. She died giving birth to him. He walks home alone, passing a father being greeted by his happy child. At his own dark house, he finds his father's shoes by the door. The man kneels before the family altar, his back to his son. Jen tries to talk about his upcoming school interviews. His father just tells him he's busy and tired from work. He tells Jun to figure out his own future, then says goodnight. Jun stares at his father's retreating back, feeling completely alone. He wonders if this man is even his real dad. Lying in bed, he wishes for the warmth of a mother. Suddenly, his phone screen lights up with a notification. From an app called Mamo, it says he's been matched with Saki. He waits at the meeting spot, his heart pounding with anxiety. He worries that it might just be a scam. Then, a gentle voice calls his name. He looks up, and his breath catches in his throat. A beautiful woman, with a kind smile, greets him. She introduces herself as Saki. Jun is completely stunned. This isn't what he expected. He thought a mama would be much older. She asks if he's feeling nervous. He can only nod. He takes off his hat to properly introduce himself. Saki's smile widens, and she says he's absolutely adorable. His face turns bright red. He's never been called that before. She reaches out and gently pats his head. He freezes. Her hand is so warm. A pleasant scent fills his senses, a feeling of deep comfort. He wonders if this is what having a mom is like. She asks if he's hungry, then takes his hand. She reminds him this is Sugar Mama dating. They arrive at her apartment suite, and she invites him in. He steps inside, looking around in awe. It's an adult woman's room, full of cute things. Saki asks if he likes curry, then ties on an apron. She tells him she'll whip some up for him. He watches, mesmerized, thinking this must be what an ordinary family feels like. She serves him a steaming plate of curry. He takes a hesitant bite. His eyes go wide. He exclaims that it's super delicious. Saki beams, relieved and happy. She notices a smudge of food around his mouth. She leans in and gently wipes it away with a napkin. He feels a jolt, his mind racing. After the meal, she dismisses his offer to wash the dishes. More importantly, she says, he can take a shower before they start. He stares back, completely bewildered. Start what? On the couch, she asks if this is his first time with a sugar mama. She leans in close, a playful smile on her lips. She suggests they shower together. Jun's mind goes completely blank. His face flushes crimson. Before he can react, she starts pulling up the hem of his shirt. He panics, shouting her name and trying to stop her. He covers his face, utterly mortified. He stammers out an apology, confessing his misunderstanding. He didn't know this was what dating a sugar mama was about. He just wanted to feel what having a mom was like. Saki freezes. Her playful smile vanishes instantly. She looks at him, her eyes wide with shock. The pieces click into place. His loneliness, his innocent questions. He looks up, tears finally streaming down his face. He apologizes for lying, for deceiving her. He expects her to be furious, to kick him out. But instead, a pair of warm arms wraps around him. Saki pulls him into a tight, comforting hug. She whispers that it's okay, he was just lonely. A wave of relief washes over him, and he begins to sob. He feels a gentle, boundless acceptance. This is what a mama is. Saki tells him he can think of her as his real mommy. She says she's going to pamper him properly. With a grin, she pulls out a fluffy ear pick. She asks if he's ever had his ears cleaned before. He lies down, resting his head in her lap. It's soft and warm. She gently begins to clean his ear. A shocking, incredible sensation runs through his entire body. He can't help the noises that escape his lips. Saki just smiles, telling him it's a natural reaction. She tells him that with his mama, he can act however he wants. He finally gives in, exposing his vulnerable side. He whispers the one word he's longed to say, "Mom." But soon after, his school found out everything. he was suspended and forced to delete Saki's contact info. Time passed. He became a recluse, then started high school. His father takes him to a nice restaurant for a rare dinner out. He apologizes for keeping a secret, saying there's a woman he wants to introduce. A woman in elegant black heels walks toward their table. Jun's blood runs cold. It's Saki. His father announces he's remarrying to Misaki. Jun stares in disbelief, his world tilting on its axis. Saki smiles, announcing she looks forward to living with him. A young man named Jun stands completely frozen, his jaw slack. He stares at the woman smiling gently before him. His mind races. This is Saki, his former sugar mama, and she's here to announce her remarriage to his father. He whirls around, demanding to know what this is all about. His father simply smiles, stating that the decision has been made. Saki chimes in cheerfully, telling Jun to take care of her. Before Jun can even process this, his dad grabs a suitcase. He announces he's being transferred to Singapore for work, effective immediately. He says he's leaving Saki in charge of the house. Saki gently grabs Jun's arm, pushing him towards his departing father. She tells him if he doesn't say something now, he'll only regret it later. But his father is already walking down the hall, not even looking back. Jun is left alone with Saki, thinking this woman is a total mystery. Later, Saki asks for a tour of her new home. As she unpacks in a spare room, Jun feels a sense of dread. He realizes his dad isn't coming back, so it's just the two of them. That evening, a delicious smell wafts from the kitchen. Saki has made him dinner, a plate of rich curry rice. Jun takes a tentative bite, his eyes widen in surprise. He knows this taste. It's the same curry she made for him before. He stands up abruptly, asking if she's really going to marry his dad. Saki smiles softly and confirms that it is absolutely true. Then she leans forward, her expression turning serious. She tells him that she's doing this all because of him. Because when they played house, he made her feel so incredibly happy. So she decided she didn't want to just pretend to be his mommy. She wants to become his mother for real. That night, Jun lies wide awake, unable to process anything. His door creaks open. It's Saki. She offers him a flameless, aromatic candle, hoping the scent will help him rest. Jun breathes it in. It's the same sweet fragrance she wore when they first met. Saki smiles, saying now it's time for the next part. She leans over him, her body close, as she gets right into his bed. She begins patting his back rhythmically, like a mother rocking her child. Jun is paralyzed, his face burning bright red. Saki whispers about all the things she wants to do together as mother and son. Throwing birthday parties, taking commemorative photos, eating homemade lunches. She asks him if he wants to do all those things with her. He wakes with a jolt, his heart pounding in his chest. He sits up in his empty bed, convinced it was all a dream. He stumbles into the kitchen, and his breath catches in his throat. Saki is there, wearing an apron, a warm smile on her face. She wishes him a good morning, telling him breakfast is ready. The reality washes over him, and he collapses, breaking down in tears. Saki rushes to his side, gently hugging him from behind. She reminds him softly that it's okay. He cried the first time they met too. A young boy, Jun, sits all alone on a park swing. His friend Riko calls his name, her voice full of concern. She asks if he's alone again today. Worried, she invites him over to her house to play. She remembers her father's words about not being a burden, but she insists, worried a stranger might bother him again. Jun quietly hangs his head and apologizes. At her house, he plays video games as she brings him snacks. Riko's mother appears, offering him food with a kind smile. Jun looks up at her, completely surprised by her warmth. He thinks to himself how lucky Riko is. He tells her she has a very kind mother. But soon, they begin to drift apart. A rumor spreads through the school halls. The whispers say Jun is dating a sugar mama. Before they know it, they don't speak to each other anymore. At their graduation, Riko hardly recognizes him. Jun looks so haggard, his spirit completely worn down. She feels a deep pang of responsibility. After all, she believed she looked after him the most. Cautiously, she peeks from behind a corner. She sees him walking down the street. She wonders how to greet him. What she should even say. "Hey, long time no see," she rehearses in her head. Suddenly, he's right there, catching her completely off guard. He tells her she doesn't have to be so stiff around him. She can only stammer a flustered, "yes." Later, from a distance, Riko sees something unbelievable. Jun is with an older woman she's never seen before. The woman smiles, telling him she's his mama after all. Riko watches them walk away, completely stunned. The next day, Jun finds a quiet spot to eat his lunch. He opens a bento box, made by the woman, Saki. Inside, the food is perfectly arranged into little hearts. Just then, a voice calls out to him. It's Riko. She sits down, announcing she'll eat here too. Her eyes immediately fixate on the bento box. She asks him who made it for him. Jun freezes, remembering she saw him yesterday morning. Riko presses him, describing the woman from his house. She says she heard the woman call herself his mama. With a firm voice, she demands to know who she is. Jun lets out a quiet sigh of resignation. He tells her it's the truth. There's nothing strange about it. His father, he explains, got remarried. Riko is stunned into silence. Jun says it was all so sudden, a shock even for him. Riko tries to process this new information. She asks if they're all living together now. He explains that his dad is away for work. Riko's eyes fly open. Eh? She grabs his arm, her voice suddenly urgent. She asks if he's home alone with that woman. Jun tells her not to worry, that he's fine. But as he walks away, his own mind starts to race. He thinks about how Riko saw him with Saki. He wonders what she must be thinking. A cold sweat runs down his back. He desperately hopes she doesn't know how they really met. That one secret could ruin absolutely everything. As he leaves school, a familiar voice calls his name. It's Saki, his new mama, smiling as she waits for him. He complains that she treats him like a child. Saki smiles, reminding him of their little promise. He said he wanted to do mother-son things with her. Saki announces she's taking him somewhere special, her chosen destination, the local supermarket. She explains his fridge was empty when she made his bento. He admits it's the first time anyone has ever made lunch for him. Saki smiles, confessing it's her first time too. She asks him if there's anything he'd like her to make. He shyly requests tamagoyaki, a rolled omelet. She beams, thinking this is almost like being a real parent. A sad thought crosses her mind. She's never had a mother. Jun calls her out on her aloof pubescent attitude. At the checkout, Saki has bought far too much. Jun offers to carry a bag for her. The simple gesture makes Saki's face light up with joy. On the way home, Saki spots an ice cream shop. She pulls him inside, insisting they take a break. Inside, a real mother and child share a treat. Saki smiles, then turns to Jun with a spoonful of ice cream. "Ah, Tilda," she coos, feeding him in public. He's flushed, completely embarrassed. Then Saki's gaze turns playful. She wants to try his. Her eyes drift down to a strawberry cone. "Mommy is feeling curious," she whispers. He warns her it's dripping, but she leans in anyway. She tells him this is just normal parent-child bonding. A finger touches his lips. This, she says, is what she has always wanted. An awkward silence hangs over the dinner table. Jun's childhood friend Riko sits across from his new stepmother. She asks the question on everyone's mind. Had Jun really agreed to his father marrying this young woman? Saki, the new stepmother, just smiles calmly. She confirms that yes, it's true. Riko presses further, demanding to know if Jun's feelings were considered. Saki agrees that the arrangement was sudden. She introduces herself properly as Jun's new mother. Then she pulls a stunned Jun onto her lap, cradling him gently. She wants to give him all the experiences he missed with a mother. She coos that they'll do everything normal parents and children do. Her voice drops to a whisper as she calls herself his mommy. Jun shrieks, leaping away in horror. Later, Jun walks Riko home through the quiet streets. Riko stops, her expression serious. She tells him to let her know if Saki does anything strange. She can't explain it, but something about the woman bothers her. Jun watches her go, a sense of unease creeping in. He arrives home to a quiet apartment. He wonders where Miss Saki is. He opens the bathroom door without thinking. He freezes, finding Saki standing there, barely dressed. She smiles, unfazed, telling him he's right on time. She asks if he would like to join her. He finds himself sitting on a stool in the steaming bathroom. Saki, wrapped in a towel, kneels to wash his back. Her hands are gentle, her touch slow and deliberate. He feels a warmth that is not just from the bathwater. As her hands move lower, he begins to panic. She tells him it's better if he washes that part himself. She then begins talking about Riko. She suggests Riko must have very special feelings for him. Jun is stunned, water splashing as he jerks in surprise. He can't get the image of Riko out of his head. His own body betrays him. With an undeniable reaction, he scrambles to get out, making excuses about the time. But Saki stops him with a gentle voice. She tells him not to worry. As his mommy, she will have to teach him. She'll teach him everything about a woman's body. Jun's eyes widen in disbelief. Before him, Saki stands completely naked. She's going to teach him about a woman's body. He stammers her name, utterly confused by the situation. She asks him how he would feel if he forced himself on her. He can only manage a shocked gasp. She continues, framing this as a necessary lesson. It's about the serious dangers of ignorance. An unwanted pregnancy could ruin lives. She just doesn't want Jun to make those mistakes. Therefore, she offers her body for him to learn. He stares, completely overwhelmed by her proposal. She then poses a scenario about his crush, Riko. What if Riko was in front of him like this? His thoughts race, imagining Riko's body. Suddenly, he's on his knees, face to face with Saki. He can't believe he's actually touching Miss Saki. Her chest feels so heavy, so soft. He feels an incredible warmth through the fabric. A woman's body, he thinks, is so delicate. He squeezes a little too hard, and she lets out a soft moan. She apologizes, telling him to be gentle there. He adjusts his touch, his movements more cautious. She murmurs that he's doing very well. But a sudden realization hits Jun like a train. He thinks to himself, what am I doing? This feels so wrong for a parent and child. Saki's expression shifts, her voice turning serious. She asks him, it's weird, right? Jun breaks away, unable to continue. Saki suddenly beams with a bright smile. That's right, she exclaims, praising him. She says he did very well to stop himself. She muses that maybe he's already wise enough. Jun quickly denies it, insisting he still needs her. A tender smile crosses Saki's face. She cups his cheek, offering to always help him. Later, Jun closes the door to his room. He sits alone on his bed, lost in thought. Saki is his mom, but they share no blood. The next morning, he can barely meet her eyes. Saki just smiles, her own boundaries dissolving. A gentle-looking woman smiles warmly, offering her help to anyone in need. In a quiet classroom, a name is called out. Jun Hikoa. The student, Jun, jumps in his seat, a bead of sweat on his brow. The teacher asks him for the answer, but he can only lower his head in shame. Later, a girl with short hair, Riko, asks Jun if he's been acting weird lately. He just sits at his desk, spacing out and barely eating his lunch. Riko leans in, warning him about that woman. She insists he tell her if Saki does anything strange. That night, Jun sits alone, overwhelmed by a pile of textbooks. He can't remember any of the material for his upcoming tests. A woman's voice calls out from the doorway. She's home. It's Saki. She sees him struggling at his desk. She remarks that he seems to be studying hard. She mentions she's also studying, then makes a suggestion. She asks if she can study right next to him. Jun freezes, a blush creeping across his face. Her sitting there, so close, makes it impossible to focus. He's surprised to see she wears glasses when she studies. He thinks to himself that of course he's distracted. Siki leans over his shoulder, her hair brushing against him. She asks if he needs some help with the material. The soft scent coming from her makes his head feel dizzy. She points to a question in his English textbook. As she explains the grammar, he finds himself understanding perfectly. He's stunned. She's actually an amazing teacher. He gets the next answer correct, all on his own. Saki smiles, wondering if it's because she used to teach her little brother. Jun realizes he knows almost nothing about her family. She then gets a brilliant idea. To help him work harder, she'll give him a reward for each milestone. Jun just stares back at her. A reward? The thought motivates him, and he dives back into his work. Before he knows it, he's filled in all the answers. Saki leans over him, amazed at his speed. She has a playful, mysterious smile on her face. "Now then," she asks, "what would you like as a reward?" Jun hesitates, his entire face turning bright red. He looks down and shyly asks her to praise him. Saki's eyes fly wide open behind her glasses. She is completely, utterly shocked by his request. A memory flashes in her mind of a small child looking up at her. She gently presses her cheek against Jun's head. "You did a great job," she whispers softly. But then she wraps her arms around him from behind. Her chest presses firmly against his back. The sudden intimacy is overwhelming. He thinks he's going to pass out from her intoxicating scent. In his entire life, he's never felt anything like this. He stammers his thanks for her help with his studies. He quickly makes an excuse to get away to his room. Saki watches him go with a soft, knowing smile. But just as he's leaving, she calls out to him. She tells him she'd like to reward him again tomorrow. Jun freezes in the doorway, his eyes wide. His face is a perfect mask of shock and confusion. The next night, he finishes his work even faster than before. For his reward, he rests his head on Saki's lap. She's going to clean his ears for him. As she gently works, a pleasant jolt runs through him. He closes his eyes, trying to calm his racing heart. This is just an ear cleaning, he tells himself. Nothing more. It's a test to see if his feelings for her have changed. A wave of intense pleasure washes over him. He quickly covers his mouth, trying to stifle a sound. There's no doubt about it. His feelings have changed. Saki just smiles, telling him it's okay to make noise. She leans down, her face getting impossibly close to his. The memory of all her rewards flashes through his mind. Then, the real test results are handed back. He stares down at the papers, his blood running cold. The scores are terrible. An absolute disaster. He buries his head in his hands, drowning in shame. He can't possibly let Saki see these. But Saki is already knocking at his door. She enters with a cheerful smile, asking about his tests. He mumbles that they weren't that bad. She just nods, telling him it's all right. She says he did his best, and that's all that matters. Then she presents a homemade strawberry cake. It's his reward for all his hard work. Jun looks down at his hands, unable to meet her gaze. He quietly apologizes, saying he can't accept it. His grades were just too shameful. Without a word, Saki pulls him into a gentle hug. "Don't worry," she whispers into his hair. She tells him that this embrace is the real reward. No matter what his grades are, he did a great job. He feels a quiet warmth spread through his chest. He thinks to himself that this idyllic life is something he must protect. Saki gently wipes a bit of cream from his cheek, her smile serene. A gentle voice asks him about special events at school. The boy, Jun, looks up, completely caught off guard. His guardian, Saki, reminds him to share any school printouts. Jun racks his brain, staring down at the table. His eyes land on a calendar. It's the month of May. A single entry is circled on the 11th, Mother's Day. He sits alone on a bench, realizing the day has already passed. Saki does so much for him, and a deep sense of guilt washes over him. His classmate, Riko, suddenly interrupts his gloomy thoughts. She looks him in the eye and asks what he did for Mother's Day. He confesses that he completely forgot to get Saki anything. Riko sighs, teasing him about his well-known obsession with mothers. But then she tells him she'll help, he just has to be free on Sunday. On Sunday, Jun awkwardly tries to sneak out of the house. Saki catches him at the door, asking where he's going. He stammers that he's just going out for a little while. On the train, he feels terrible for having to be so secretive. Riko waves him down, and he immediately tells her not to shout. She asks why he hasn't commented on her casual clothes. He finally says she looks different, cuter than usual. A deep blush spreads across Riko's face. In the gift shop, Jun is completely lost among the shelves. He has to admit he has no idea what Saki's hobbies even are. The pressure to choose the right gift is paralyzing him. He flashes back to giving his distant father a handmade gift. His father had simply told him to put it over there. Riko tells him that for some people, the thought is truly enough. They finally leave the mall. a small bag in Jun's hand. As they walk home, they see Saki waiting for them on the street. Riko calls Jun a mama's boy and dashes off, laughing. Now alone, Jun nervously holds out a small bouquet of flowers. He tells her it's a late gift for Mother's Day. Saki's eyes go wide, instantly filling with tears. He says he knows it's weird, but he just wanted to thank her. She whispers that this makes her so truly happy. Then, he pulls out a second gift, a tiny teddy bear keychain. He says it reminded him of the stuffed toy she brought when she moved in. Saki's joyful smile instantly vanishes. Her face goes blank. Jun freezes, his stomach dropping. He knows he just screwed up. Suddenly, Saki pulls him into a crushing, desperate hug. She kisses his forehead, whispering that he watches her so very closely. Her grip tightens until he cries out in pain. A notice for the school sports festival arrives. Jun's new stepmother, Saki, is ecstatic. She declares she'll put all her effort into the bento. It will be the first school event she has ever attended. Jun quietly tells her it's fine if she doesn't come. She looks wounded, asking if he doesn't want her there. He quickly backtracks, telling her he'll clear his schedule. That night, he watches her, thinking she seems genuinely happy. The day of the festival arrives, electric with cheers. Jun's team loses the relay. He hangs his head in defeat. A voice suddenly roars his name across the field. It's Saki, a huge 4K camera in hand, cheering him on. His classmates stare, wondering who the gorgeous woman is. Jun hides his face, mortified by the sudden attention. At lunch, Saki is chatting with his friend Riko's mother. Riko herself appears, shocked to find them all together. They sit for lunch, as Saki unveils an incredible spread of food. Riko's mom prods Jun, telling him to thank his new mom. He looks down, flustered, and mumbles his thanks. He says her cooking is always delicious and her housework is perfect. He finally looks at her, calling her amazing. Saki stares back, her eyes wide and full of emotion. Riko's mom is overjoyed, glad he has a proper parent now. A single, silent tear rolls down Saki's cheek. That evening, back at home, Jun thanks her for coming. Saki simply smiles, saying she was happy to see him try. After his bath, she offers him a, quote, special service. She instructs him to lie face down on a yoga mat. He's confused as her hands gently press against his back. She admits she has only seen massage videos online. The touch is awkward, intimate, and surprisingly good. She leans in close, asking if he's curious about why she wanted to be his mother so badly. He looks up at her, their faces inches apart, and says yes. She confesses that she feels the same way he does. She never felt truly provided for in her own childhood, so she decided to become the one who provides for others. Jun lies there, completely stunned by her vulnerability. The massage ends. He quietly admits that it felt really good. Saki closes her eyes, a contented smile on her face. As he helps her clean up, he finds himself wanting to know more. Is it because she's his parent, or something else entirely? The parent-teacher meeting is finally over. Saki lets out a long, relieved sigh. She smiles, announcing it's their first summer together. She asks Jun what he'd like to do for the vacation. He looks up at her, a thoughtful expression on his face. Saki admits she has no summer memories of her own. She has no idea what she would even want to do. Their car speeds down the road. Saki glances over with a playful, annoyed look. She says he couldn't come up with anything. He murmurs an apology. She laughs, softly, a secret in her eyes. Where they are going will be a surprise. They'll just go wherever she wants. Holding up a swim ring, she grins. She tells him to get his swimsuit ready for the sea. At a toll gate, the barrier refuses to open. Saki looks down, her face hidden by her hair. She admits it's her first time renting a car. But then she looks up, her expression suddenly proud. She declares that she has a gold license. Jun can only wonder if they'll survive the trip. They finally arrive at the beach. Saki shields her eyes, a huge grin on her face. She runs toward the sand, shouting about the smell of the sea. He thinks to himself that she seems to be having fun. His eyes catch on her figure. His cheeks begin to burn. In a changing area, Saki yelps in surprise. She turns, flustered that he saw her changing, now in her swimsuit. She turns back with a playful smile. She beckons him forward, saying the sea is waiting. Jun freezes, thinking he needs a proper changing room. Saki is already floating on her ring in the water. She calls out that he's missing out. He steps into the waves and immediately winces. "It's cold," he mutters. He takes a gulp of salty water and spits it out. Saki covers her mouth, trying to hide her laughter. She starts playfully splashing water at him. "Take this," she yells, having the time of her life. He begs her to stop, saying that's enough. Just then, a huge wave crashes down on them. Saki's inflatable ring is swept away. Jun coughs and sputters, wiping water from his eyes. Saki rushes over, asking if he's all right. She leans against him, her wet body close. She tells him he's just too kind. He stares at her, completely startled by her words. He thinks that she seems more childish than usual today. On the sand, a little girl finds a pretty piece of sea glass. She calls out happily to her mother. Later, Seki and Jun kneel together, building a sandcastle. Saki suddenly goes quiet, looking away with a pout. She thinks she's acting just like a little kid. Jun tells her he was thinking the same thing. Her face turns bright red with embarrassment. He then asks if she has any memories of the sea. She tells him she's never experienced places like this. Jun is surprised. He thought she was having fun because of some old attachment. His eyes fall on a family's elaborate sand sculpture. He says that's why family relationships are so important. The word family strikes a chord within Jun. Saki says she's happy to make new memories with him. A strange pang goes through Jun's chest. He's yearned for a mother his whole life. Saki has become that person for him. He thinks he ought to be thrilled, yet for some reason he feels unfulfilled. Two men approach Saki at the beach house. They ask if she's here by herself. Saki smiles and says she's here with her son. She cheerfully calls out to Jun, holding his drink. An old thought returns to him. I don't feel satisfied. The sun begins to set. As they prepare to leave, Jun has a quiet thought. He doesn't want to go home just yet. A sudden flash illuminates the dark sky. Fireworks! Saki shouts with glee. She grabs his hand, pulling him closer to the shore. They watch the brilliant colors burst over the water. Jun notes that it's too late to go home now. Saki turns to him, a sly smile on her lips. She whispers that they should stay the night. Jun freezes, completely stunned. A quiet commotion rumbles in his chest. We're family, after all, he thinks. Right? Saki gasps as they step into the enormous hotel room. She says they were lucky to find a vacancy this amazing. She immediately flops onto the bed, exclaiming how soft it is. She muses aloud that this is just like a family vacation. Jun stands by the window, a worried look on his face. He thinks to himself that their beds are a little too close. Suddenly, Saki discovers an open-air bath just outside. She playfully asks if they should go in together. Before he can answer, she laughs that she's only joking. A moment later, they're both soaking in the cramped wooden tub. Saki gently touches his cheek, noticing his painful sunburn. He looks down, flustered by her touch and their closeness. He can feel their skin brushing together under the water. She shifts topics, asking if he's okay paying for the room. She smiles softly, telling him a kid like him shouldn't worry about it. The word kid makes him feel suddenly and completely alone. Later, as he struggles with his yukata, Saki offers to help. She gets close, her hands adjusting the fabric around his waist. He's mortified, completely unable to look her in the eye. Saki senses his distance, asking if something happened at the beach. She apologizes, thinking she forced him to come on this trip. He quickly tells her that's not it at all. She embraces him, apologizing for forgetting he's in high school now. She admits part of her just wanted him to be a child forever. But as she pulls away, her own yukata falls completely open. She lets out an awkward laugh, trying to cover herself. He turns away, his face bright red with embarrassment. A moment passes, and he hears himself ask her a question. "Why don't you dress me?" he whispers, shocking himself. Her eyes widen in surprise. Then a smile plays on her lips. Since he's not a kid anymore, she says, she'll help him practice. Now it's his turn, and he fumbles with the sash of her robe. He's panicking, realizing she's wearing nothing underneath. She bursts out laughing, admitting she was only teasing him. Just then, he touches her chest while adjusting the robe. He freezes. His eyes go wide with shock. She says it's totally fine. In fact, she doesn't mind. In the next instant, he's leaning over her. She lies on the futon, looking up at him in stunned silence. He lowers his face to hers, and they share a deep, passionate kiss. Later that night, Saki is fast asleep, snoring softly. Jun is wide awake, staring at the ceiling in the dark. He can't stop replaying that moment over and over in his mind. Completely overwhelmed, he pulls the covers over his head. Summer vacation homework always gets in the way. A young man, Jun, sits struggling at his desk. Suddenly, his friend Riko points at his notebook. She exclaims that his math formula is all wrong. Jun just looks up, a little bewildered by her energy. She asks if he didn't get anyone to help him. He quietly tells her no, he didn't. Riko thinks about how kind his guardian Saki is. She asks if he managed to go anywhere for the break. He mentions the beach, and Riko looks up, surprised. He asks her who she went to the beach with. Just then, a woman with long, dark hair enters the room. She smiles warmly, welcoming Riko to their home. This is Saki, John's guardian. She mentions she bought snacks and will get them ready. Saki overhears them talking about the beach. She asks if the two of them went together. Riko's hands clench nervously on the table. Saki clarifies it was a one-night family trip. She says they even bought some souvenirs. A quick flash of memory hits Jun. He and Saki, sharing an intimate kiss. Back in the present, Riko looks completely lost. She wonders what on earth just happened. Saki just waves cheerfully and heads back to the kitchen. Riko thinks that family trips are pretty ordinary. She wonders what Jun must have been thinking. She gets an idea and turns to Jun. She tells him there's a festival near the station tonight. Saki overhears this from the kitchen. Riko offers to go with him if he finishes his homework. Jun stares at her, completely stunned. Saki reappears, a playful smirk on her face. She teases Riko for inviting him out. Riko blushes, insisting it's not like that. She was just worried he had no summer memories with friends. Saki puts her arm around Riko, pushing the idea. She turns to Jun, asking him if he'll go. Jun's eyes widen. Feeling put on the spot, he gives a quiet, resigned, sure. Saki claps her hands, delighted that it's settled. Later, Jun stands awkwardly in a dark yukata. Saki looks him over, pleased with her purchase. He admits he's never worn a yukata to a festival before. Saki beams, reminding him a girl invited him on a date. The word date makes Jun freeze in place. Saki notices a wrinkle in his yukata. She tells him Riko's a nice girl who cares about him. She thinks Riko probably has feelings for him. Jun looks troubled, his gaze distant. He asks if she minds him being alone with a girl. Saki smiles, her eyes closed peacefully. She says there's no greater happiness for her. She fixes his collar, sending him on his way. She watches him go with a warm "take care now." Jun arrives at the bustling night festival. He sees Riko waiting for him. Looking down shyly, she's also wearing a beautiful patterned yukata. He murmurs her name, taking in the sight. He playfully teases her for making such an effort. She puffs out her cheeks, flustered. She insists she's only here to help him make memories. They walk through the crowd, past the bright lanterns. They play festival games and try different snacks. Riko enjoys some candied strawberries. Jun seems to be having a terrible time at water balloon fishing. Saki's friend is also there, buying them more food. Riko feels a little overwhelmed by her generosity. Suddenly, Riko's eyes go wide with panic. She grabs Jun's arm, pulling him away. They duck into a quiet, darker area. She peeks back, asking if the coast is clear. She explains she saw some girls Jun used to talk to. She was afraid it would be bad if they were seen together. Jun asks if he should just leave her alone. Riko looks down, her hand clutching her yukata. They stand in silence under the starry night sky. She finally speaks, her voice trembling. She confesses she's always felt terrible about something. It was back in junior high, during the commotion. The rumors about him and his sugar mama. While he was being ostracized, she did nothing. She just distanced herself like everyone else. She admits she hates herself for it. She says this date was just her way of atoning. Jun cuts her off, his voice firm. He tells her he isn't forcing himself to be here. He confesses he bought his yukata just for tonight. He pulls out a flower pin he bought to match her kimono. He says he was truly looking forward to this.